The night shift at the Korean Space Defense Command Center was usually quiet. Most of the staff spent their time watching screens filled with normal space static and running routine checks. But on July 15, 2157, everything changed. Commander Ji-woo Park sat at her desk, sipping her third cup of coffee. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun, and her uniform was crisp despite the late hour. As she reviewed the daily reports, a young officer burst into her office. "Commander, you need to see this right now." The officer's voice shook with excitement. Ji-woo followed him to the main control room, where dozens of screens showed unusual patterns of light. The normal space static was replaced by regular pulses that made no sense to human communication systems. "What am I looking at?" Ji-woo asked, leaning over the main console. "It's a signal, Commander, but it's like nothing we've ever seen before. Look at the math patterns." The officer pointed to a screen showing waves of numbers. "These are perfect prime numbers, being broadcast over and over. This can't be natural. Someone made this." Ji-woo's heart began to race, but her voice remained calm. "Where is it coming from?" "That's the strange part," another officer said. "It's coming from everywhere, every satellite, every deep space receiver. They're all picking it up. It's like someone is screaming into space, hoping anyone will hear." Ji-woo studied the patterns. In her 15 years of service, she had seen many strange things. But this was different. The signal wasn't just random noise, it was a message. As she watched, new patterns emerged. Simple mathematics turned into complex equations, then into what looked like star maps. "Get me the Global Council," she ordered. "Now." Within an hour, screens around the room showed faces from every major space agency on Earth. American, Chinese, European, and Russian officials all looked worried. "This is a waste of time," the Russian director said. "It's probably just a new kind of space interference." "No," Ji-woo said firmly. "Look at the patterns. These are numbers that mean something. This is first contact, and whoever is sending this needs help." "Help," the American director laughed. "Commander Park, even if this is an alien signal, we can't risk Earth's safety on a possible distress call from who knows where." Ji-woo stood straighter. "The signal repeats every 12 minutes. Each time, it gets more complex, like it's testing to see if we can understand. But under all the math, there's something else. A rhythm. Like a heartbeat. Like breathing. Whatever sent this is alive, and they're afraid." The Chinese director shook his head. "We are not ready for this kind of responsibility. Earth has its own problems." "When has that ever stopped us from helping?" Ji-woo asked. She pressed a button, making the signal sound play through all their speakers. The rhythm was clear now, quick, desperate, like someone running. In all of human history, whenever we heard a cry for help, some of us always answered. It didn't matter if we were ready. It didn't matter if we had problems of our own. We helped because that's what humans do. The room fell silent except for the beating rhythm of the signal. "If we ignore this," Ji-woo continued, "if we hide and pretend we didn't hear it, we'll be turning our backs on everything that makes us human. Someone out there needs us. They're asking for help the only way they can. Will we be the ones who heard a cry for help and did nothing?" The American director sighed. "What do you suggest, Commander Park?" "Let me put together a team. We have ships. We have brave people. Let me find out what's happening out there." One by one, the directors looked at each other through their screens. Slowly, they began to nod. "You have 1 month," the European director said. "Choose your team carefully, Commander." As the screens went dark, Ji-woo looked back at the signal patterns. Somewhere out there, someone was waiting for an answer. And for the first time in galactic history, humanity was about to show the universe what it meant to care about strangers. She picked up her phone. "Get me a list of our best ships and crews," she told her assistant. "And call Dr. Hannah Lee. We're going to need someone who can talk to whoever sent this." The signal kept beating its rhythm through the speakers, like a countdown to humanity's biggest test. Jiwoo knew that whatever they found out there, it would change everything. But that's what humans did best. They faced the unknown, and they helped those in need. The night shift at the Korean Space Defense Command Center would never be quiet again. The Earth's first emergency response fleet moved through space like a group of bright stars. 3 ships led the way: the medical ship Hope, the science vessel Discovery, and the protection ship Guardian. Dr. Hannah Lee stood on the bridge of the Discovery, watching the stars streak by. "How's the translation program coming?" Captain Sunho asked, walking up beside her. Hannah pointed to her screen, where strange symbols flowed like water. "The signal has taught us so much. Whoever sent it wasn't just asking for help, they were teaching us their language." The last 3 weeks had been busy. While Commander Ji-woo organized the fleet back on Earth, Hannah had worked day and night to understand the alien messages. Now, as they followed the signal to its source, she felt both excited and afraid. "Signal strength is getting stronger," one of the officers called out. "We're getting close." The fleet slowed down as they entered a new solar system. Everyone on the bridge fell silent. Where they expected to find planets, they saw only broken pieces of rock and metal floating in space. "My God," Sunho whispered. This was a civilization. Hannah's computer began to beep rapidly. "Captain, I'm picking up life signs. Weak, but they're there. Coming from that large structure." She pointed to what looked like a space station, half hidden behind a field of debris. The Guardian moved forward first, checking for danger. After an hour of careful scanning, they confirmed it was safe to approach. Hannah joined the first team to board the station, her translation device ready. They found survivors. The aliens were tall and thin, with skin that seemed to shine like pearl. Their eyes were large and full of sadness. When they saw the humans, they didn't show fear. Instead, they reached out their hands in a gesture that needed no translation. "Thank you." "I am Hannah Lee," she said slowly, letting her device translate. "We heard your call for help." The alien leader stepped forward. Its voice was musical, and Hannah's device turned it into words. "I am Keeper. You are human. We did not expect anyone to come. No one ever comes." The medical teams from Hope were already moving through the station, helping the injured aliens, the Astrians, as they called themselves. Hannah sat with Keeper, learning their story. "The void came without warning," Keeper said. "They are not like you or us. They don't want resources or land. They feed on energy. Any energy. They took everything. Our cities, our power, even the life force of our people." "How many other civilizations answered your call?" Hannah asked. Keeper's eyes grew darker. "Many heard. None came. They hide from the void. They have for thousands of years. When the void attacks, everyone stays quiet, hoping they will not be next." Sunho, who had been listening, stepped forward. "Why did you think anyone would help, if this has been happening for so long?" "Hope," Keeper said simply. "We hoped that somewhere, someone would be different. We did not expect to find humans. You are young among the stars, but you came without hesitation. Why?" Hannah looked at Sunho, then back at Keeper. "Because you needed help. On our world, when we hear someone cry for help, we try to answer. Not everyone, not always, but enough of us. Enough to make a difference." More Astrians gathered around them, their pearled skin glowing softly in the station's dim light. One of them held up a device showing a map of space. "The void moves in patterns," Keeper explained. "We tracked them for years. We know where they will go next." The map zoomed in on a familiar spiral of stars. "They are heading toward your home." Sunho straightened up. "How long do we have?" 3 of your months," Keeper said. "Others will warn you to hide, to stay quiet. They will say it is impossible to fight the void. But you humans, you are different. Your energy, your emotions, they are unlike anything we have seen before." Hannah's translation device was picking up more than just words now. She could feel the hope in the Astrians' voices, see it in the way they moved closer to the humans. "Captain," she said to Sunho, "we need to get this information back to Earth. And," she looked at the Astrians, "we need to take them with us. Their knowledge, their technology. We'll need everything to face what's coming." Sunho nodded and activated his comm link to all ships. "This is Captain Sunho. Begin evacuation procedures. We're taking everyone home." As the fleet prepared to move, Hannah watched the humans and Astrians working together. Humanity's first contact with alien life hadn't been about war or trade or politics. It had been about helping others in need. Somehow, that felt right. The void was coming, but Earth wouldn't face it alone. And maybe, just maybe, that would make all the difference. The meeting room at Earth's Global Defense Center was packed. Leaders from every nation sat around a large table, their faces showing worried as they listened to Captain Sunho's report. On the big screen behind him, images of the destroyed Astrian system played in a loop. "The void isn't just coming," Sunho said, pointing to the star maps. "They're hunting. And Earth is next." Commander Jiwoo stood up. "We've received messages from 17 different alien civilizations in the last week. They all say the same thing. Hide. Power down. Stay quiet. Let the void pass by." "Maybe they're right," someone said. "We can't fight something that eats energy itself." Tactical Officer Yoonji Choi, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. Her uniform was neat, but her eyes showed she hadn't slept much. "Actually, we can. The Astrians have been sharing their research. The void has a weakness." She pressed a button, and new images appeared on the screen. They showed strange patterns of light and energy. "The void can't process human emotions. Our feelings create a kind of energy they can't eat. It makes them sick." "Emotions?" another leader asked. "How can feelings fight monsters?" Keeper, the Astrian leader, moved to the front of the room. After weeks on Earth, the tall alien had learned to move carefully in Earth's gravity. "Humans feel things differently than any species we've met. Your emotions are strong, pure. When you feel happy or sad or angry, it changes the energy around you. The void has never seen anything like it." Dr. Hannah Lee, who had been working with the Astrians, added, "Think about it. Every other species chose to hide. But humans, when we heard a cry for help, we felt something. Compassion. Determination. The need to help. Those feelings are our strength." Sunho nodded. "We have 3 choices. We can hide, like the others. We can run. Or we can fight." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Commander Jiwoo spoke again. "2 months ago, we heard a call for help. We chose to answer. Now we know why no one else did. They were afraid. But being afraid doesn't mean you can't be brave." She walked to the center of the room. "The void thinks they'll find another quiet, hiding civilization. Instead, they'll find humans. We're loud. We feel deeply. We help strangers, and we fight for what's right." Yoonji stepped up next to her. "I have a plan. It's crazy, but it might work. We use our ships as bait. When the void comes to feed, they'll find more emotion than they can handle. Anger at what they've done. Sadness for those they've hurt. Hope for a better future. And most importantly, the determination to protect others." "You want us to fight space monsters with feelings?" someone asked, laughing. "No," Yoonji said firmly. "I want us to fight them with what makes us human. Our ships, our weapons, and our hearts." The Astrians in the room began to glow brighter, their pearl skin shimmering with hope. Keeper spoke again. "In all our history, no one has ever fought the void. They were too powerful, too hungry. But humans, you are different. You feel fear, yet you act anyway. You know you might lose, yet you try. This is why we believe in you." Commander Jiwoo looked at each person in the room. The void took everything from the Astrians. their homes, their families, their future. They asked for help, and only Earth answered. Now we know why we were meant to hear that signal. Because only humans would be crazy enough to fight back. One by one, the leaders began to nod. Plans were made. Ships would be built. The Astrians would share their technology, and humans would add their own special touch. Weapons powered by emotion, shields made stronger by determination. As the meeting ended, Sun Ho found Yunja looking at the star maps. "Do you really think we can win?" he asked. She smiled. The void has never lost because no one ever fought back. They don't know what's coming. They don't understand humans. She pointed to Earth on the map. "We're not going to just survive this. We're going to show the galaxy what happens when you mess with the only species crazy enough to help strangers." The choice was made. Earth would fight, not just for survival, but for every civilization that ever had to hide in fear. The void was coming, but they were about to learn why humans were different. Sometimes the bravest thing wasn't being unafraid. It was being afraid and fighting anyway. Earth changed more in 1 month than it had in the last 100 years. All over the planet, humans and Astrians worked together, getting ready for the fight of their lives. Dr. Hannah Lee stood in the new Global Defense Center, watching hundreds of workers below. They were building special ships, ones that could channel human emotions into weapons. The ships looked beautiful, shining with both human and Astrian technology. "The energy readings are amazing," she said to Keeper, who stood beside her. "I've never seen anything like it." Keeper nodded, their pearl skin glowing softly. "Your people's feelings are so strong. Watch this." They pointed to a testing area where Tactical Officer Yunji was working with a group of soldiers. Yunji stood in front of a new weapon, a cannon that looked like it was made of crystal and steel. "Think about why you're fighting," she told the soldiers. "Think about the Astrians who lost their homes. Think about Earth. Think about everyone counting on us." The cannon began to glow as the soldiers focused. Colors swirled inside it. Red for anger, blue for determination, gold for hope. When they fired the weapon, it shot a beam of pure emotional energy that lit up the whole room. "Perfect," Yunji said, smiling. "The void won't know what hit them." In another part of the building, Commander Jiwoo met with Captain Sun Ho. They looked at maps showing the void's path toward Earth. 2 weeks left, Sun Ho said quietly. "Are we ready?" Jiwoo pointed to dots on the map representing Earth's new fleet. 50 ships, all powered by both technology and human emotion, each one carrying crews who volunteered to fight. She paused. "Something interesting happened this morning. We got a message from one of the hiding civilizations." "What did they say?" "They're watching us. All of them are. They can't believe we're actually going to fight." Jiwoo smiled. "Some of them think we're crazy. Others, they're starting to hope." On the main floor, engineers worked on special suits for the crew members. Each suit had sensors that could read the wearer's emotions and turn them into energy. Dr. Hana had helped design them, combining Astrian science with human feelings. "The trick," she explained to a group of pilots, "is to feel everything fully. Don't hide your fear. Use it. Don't push down your anger. Let it fuel you. The void feeds on empty energy, but they can't handle energy filled with human emotions." The pilots practiced, learning to let their feelings flow through the suits. Some thought about their families back home. Others remembered the destroyed Astrian worlds. Their emotions made the suits glow with different colors. In the medical bay, humans and Astrians worked together to treat the survivors who were still arriving from other attacked worlds. Each story of loss made the humans more determined to stop the void. "I've never seen anything like this," Keeper said to Hana as they watched the preparations. "Most species run from the void. But humans, you see something terrible and decide to fight it." "That's because humans are strange," Yunji said, joining them. "When we see something scary, half of us want to run away, and half of us want to learn how to fight it. Right now, the fighters are winning." Alarms suddenly rang through the building. Everyone looked up at the big screen. A message was coming in from the outer warning stations. "The void is moving faster than we thought." Jiwoo's voice came over the speakers. "They'll be here in 3 days." The room got quiet for a moment. Then, instead of panic, something amazing happened. People started working faster. Pilots ran to their ships. Engineers rushed to finish their projects. The whole building hummed with determination. 3 days isn't much time, Sun Ho said to Jiwoo as they watched the activity below. "It's enough," she answered. "It has to be." In the testing area, Yoonji gathered her crews, everyone to their stations. "This is what we've been training for." As the sun set on Earth that day, the planet was more ready than it had ever been. Humans had taken their greatest weakness, their strong emotions, and turned it into their greatest weapon. The void was coming to feed on another quiet, helpless world. Instead, they would find humanity, standing together, ready to fight with everything they had. The final countdown had begun. The void arrived like a dark cloud eating the stars. From the bridge of the Guardian, Captain Sun Ho watched as parts of space simply disappeared into blackness. "All ships, battle positions," he ordered. 50 ships moved into formation, their crews ready. Inside each ship, humans stood at their stations, their emotion-powered suits glowing with different colors. "The void is moving exactly as predicted," Yoonji reported from her tactical station. "They're heading straight for us." Commander Jiwoo's voice came through the comm system from Earth Control. "Remember the plan. Let them get close. Let them think we're just another helpless world." The void came closer. Now they could see what they were fighting. Huge masses of darkness that moved like living smoke. Where they passed, everything went dark. No light, no energy, no life. "They're starting to feed," someone shouted. The outer edges of their defense line began to lose power. Sun Ho stood up. "Now, all ships, activate emotion drives." Inside every ship, crews focused on their feelings. They thought about Earth, about family, about the Astrians who had lost everything. They remembered every story of loss, every cry for help. Their emotions turned into pure energy, making their ships glow like new stars. The void reacted immediately. The dark masses pulled back, as if surprised. Then they attacked. "First wave, forward," Sun Ho ordered. 20 ships moved ahead, their weapons charged with human determination and courage. When they fired, beams of colored light cut through the darkness. For the first time in history, the void made a sound, a high-pitched scream that echoed through space. Where the emotion-powered weapons hit, the darkness couldn't heal itself. "It's working," Yoonji shouted. "Their energy is dropping." But the void fought back. Dark tentacles of empty space wrapped around 3 human ships, trying to drain them. Instead of fear, the crews responded with anger. Their ships blazed with red light, burning the darkness away. "Second wave, move in," Sun Ho commanded. More ships joined the battle, each one powered by different human emotions. Some glowed with the blue light of sadness for those lost. Others burned with the golden light of hope for the future. On the main screen, they could see the void trying to adjust, trying to find a way to feed on this new kind of energy. But human emotions were too complex, too powerful. "They're pulling back," Yoonji reported. "Wait. No, they're gathering together. All their pieces are joining into one." The void formed into a massive black cloud, bigger than anything they had seen. It rushed toward the Earth fleet like a tidal wave of darkness. "All ships," Sun Ho said calmly, "remember who we are. Remember why we fight. Remember that we're the ones who answer when someone calls for help. Now, show them what that means." Every human on every ship focused all their emotions at once. Fear turned into courage. Anger became determination. Hope grew stronger. The ships didn't just glow now. They blazed like 50 new suns. When the void hit their line, it met a wall of pure human feeling. Colors exploded across space. The darkness tried to feed, But each time it touched a human ship, it encountered emotions it couldn't absorb. "Push them back," Sun Ho ordered. The fleet moved forward together, their weapons firing streams of emotional energy into the heart of the darkness. The Void tried to retreat, but Yunji was ready. "All ships, activate the emotion nets." Beams of light shot out between the ships, forming a giant net of human feelings. The Void was trapped, being torn apart by the one thing it couldn't consume. "Final strike," Sun Ho commanded. "Everyone, everything you've got." Every human in the fleet poured their hearts into one last attack. They thought about every reason they were fighting, every person they were protecting. The combined force of 50 ships' worth of human emotion hit the Void at once. The darkness shattered like glass. Pieces of the Void scattered across space, dissolving into nothing. Where there had been darkness, now there was light. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then cheers erupted across every ship. On the Guardian's bridge, Sun Ho smiled at Yunji. "Did we just beat space monsters with feelings?" he asked. Yunji laughed. "Yes, sir. Yes, we did." The stars came back, brighter than before. Earth's fleet regrouped, their ships still glowing with the power of human emotions. They had done what no other species thought possible. They had fought the Void and won. Humanity's first major space battle was over, and they had won it not with superior technology or overwhelming force, but with the very thing that made them human, their ability to feel deeply and act on those feelings. The galaxy would never be the same. 1 month after the battle with the Void, Earth's Global Defense Center was crowded with visitors from across the galaxy. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the halls, each wanting to meet the species that had done the impossible. Commander Jiwoo stood at a podium, looking out at the gathering. Beside her stood Captain Sun Ho, Dr. Hannah Lee, and Tactical Officer Yunji. Keeper of the Astrians sat in a place of honor, their pearl skin glowing with pride. First, they ignored a cry for help. Jiwoo began. "Then they said we couldn't fight. Now they all want to talk." She smiled at Keeper. "Things have certainly changed." The first to approach was a tall, crystal-like being who spoke in chiming tones. Dr. Hannah's translator converted the sounds. "We hid for 10,000 years. We watched countless civilizations fall to the Void. Then humans, barely able to reach the stars, defeated them in one battle. We didn't just defeat them," Yunji said. "We showed that fear doesn't have to control us. That helping others makes us stronger, not weaker." More alien representatives came forward. Some offered technology. Others wanted to learn about human emotions. A group of small, floating creatures that looked like colored clouds asked if humans would teach their people how to be brave. "That's the strange thing," Sun Ho told them. "Bravery isn't about not being afraid. It's about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway." In the weeks that followed, ships from hidden civilizations emerged from their hiding places. They came to Earth, not just to talk, but to learn. Dr. Hannah's translation matrix became the standard way for different species to communicate. "We want to form an alliance," a group of alien leaders said during one meeting. "Not just for trade or science, but to help each other, like humans do." Jiwoo looked at her team before answering. "An alliance would be good, but it has to be about more than just helping each other. It has to be about helping anyone who needs it." The aliens agreed. They called it the Response Alliance, a promise that no cry for help would ever go unanswered again. Keeper worked with Earth's leaders to set up training programs. Alien crews learned to work with humans, understanding how emotions could be a source of strength. Human teachers showed them that feelings weren't weakness, they were power. "Watch," Yunji told a class of alien students. She stood in front of a new emotion-powered shield. "When I think about protecting others, about keeping them safe, the shield gets stronger." The shield glowed brightly as she focused her feelings. The alien students practiced, learning to connect with their own emotions. Many found feelings they had hidden away for generations out of fear. One day, a message came from deep space. Another civilization in trouble. Before Earth could respond, 5 alien ships volunteered for the rescue mission. "We've learned from humans," their captain said. "Now it's our turn to help." In the Global Defense Center, Dr. Hanna worked with alien scientists to develop new technology that combined different species' strengths. The Astrians' knowledge of energy, merged with human emotion and other alien sciences, created things no one had dreamed possible. "Humans didn't just save us from the void," Keeper said during a celebration dinner. "You saved us from our fear. You showed us a better way to live." Sun Ho watched as humans and aliens worked together in the control room. "Did you ever think answering that first distress call would lead to all this?" he asked Jiwoo. She shook her head. "We just did what humans do. We helped because we could. Everything else." She gestured at the busy room full of different species working together. "This is just what happens when people stop hiding and start caring about each other." The Response Alliance grew stronger each day. Ships of mixed crews patrolled space, ready to help anyone in need. The galaxy was changing, becoming more like what humans had always imagined it could be. A place where different peoples worked together, where strength meant helping others, and where no one had to face danger alone. Earth had not only shown the galaxy how to fight, they had shown them how to care. And that, it turned out, was an even more powerful force than any weapon. As Jiwoo looked out at the stars through the center's windows, she smiled. The galaxy was finally awakening to a simple truth humans had known all along. The strongest force in the universe wasn't fear or power. It was the choice to help others, no matter the cost. 5 years had passed since the battle with the Void. The Global Defense Center had grown into the Galactic Response Hub, a massive building where hundreds of species worked together. On this special day, Commander Jiwoo Park stood at her favorite window, watching ships of all shapes and sizes come and go. "Still like to start your day here?" Dr. Hannah Lee asked, joining her friend. "Best view in the galaxy," Jiwoo replied. "Look there." She pointed to a group of young aliens training with Yoonji in the yard below. They were learning to use emotion-powered equipment, their bodies glowing with different colors as they practiced. "Hard to believe these are the same species that used to hide," Hannah said. "Now they're some of our best response teams." The Response Alliance had grown beyond anyone's dreams. Over 200 civilizations had joined, each bringing their own strengths. But more importantly, each learning to care about others the way humans did. Captain Sun Ho's voice came over the comm system. "Commander, you're needed in control. We've got something interesting." In the control room, screens showed a strange pattern of energy in deep space. Keeper, who now led the Alliance's science division, was studying the readings. "It's not the Void," they said quickly, seeing everyone's worried faces. "This is different. It's a celebration." The screen showed thousands of ships gathered around a rebuilt Astrian world. 5 years ago, it had been destroyed. Now it was alive again, filled with cities that glowed with combined human and alien technology. "The first complete restoration," Sun Ho said proudly. "And look who did most of the work." He pointed to a list of species who had helped. Most of them were former hiding races who had learned to be brave. "Commander," a young officer called out. "Incoming message from Sector 7. Another distress call." The room got quiet. Jiwoo smiled as she saw every person and alien straighten up, ready to help. No one hesitated anymore. No one suggested hiding. "What's the situation?" she asked. "New species, just learning space travel. Their sun is becoming unstable. They're asking if anyone can help them evacuate." Before Jiwoo could respond, messages poured in from across the galaxy. Ships were already heading to help. Species that once would have ignored the call were now racing to answer it. "Looks like they don't need us this time," Yoonji said, entering the control room after her training session. "They learned well," Keeper added, their skin glowing with pride. Dr. Hannah checked her screens. 15 different species are responding. They're sending evacuation ships, medical teams, and construction crews to help build new homes. Ji-woo watched as the rescue mission organized itself. Humans were still part of it, but they didn't need to lead anymore. The galaxy had learned its lesson well. "Remember when we first heard the Astrians call?" Sunho asked quietly. "We thought we were just answering one cry for help. Instead, we woke up the whole galaxy," Yoonji finished. A group of alien children ran past the control room windows, playing with human kids. They were using small emotion-powered toys, their laughter making the toys glow brightly. "That's the real change," Hannah said, pointing to the children. "The next generation won't remember a time when species didn't help each other. For them, this is just normal." Keeper touched a crystal on the wall, showing a map of known space. Bright lines connected all the worlds that had joined the Alliance. Where there was darkness, now there is light. Where there was fear, now there is courage. This is humanity's greatest gift to us. "No," Ji-woo corrected gently. "This is what happens when everyone remembers who they can be. Humans just showed the way." The distress call was answered within hours. Hundreds of ships, carrying crews from dozens of species, worked together to save the new civilization. The rescued people were amazed that so many strangers would come to help them. "Welcome to the new galaxy," the rescue teams told them. "We learned from humans that helping others isn't just the right thing to do. It's what makes us strong." As the sun set on Earth that day, Ji-woo looked at her team, human and alien together. They had done more than defeat the void. They had changed the very heart of the galaxy. "Ready for another day of changing the universe?" she asked. Everyone nodded. There would always be more calls for help, more chances to show courage, more opportunities to care. And now, thanks to one human choice to answer a desperate signal, no one would ever have to face those challenges alone again. The galaxy had learned to be human in the best possible way, not by giving up who they were, but by remembering who they could be. And somewhere, in the deepest parts of space, new civilizations were growing, knowing that when they needed help, someone would answer. Not because they had to, but because that's what people did now. That was humanity's true legacy.